In the moorlands, there is a time between 10 and 3 when the light becomes surgical. It strips the hills bare and renders every shadow impossible. You've spent your life in this clarity, cataloging truths other people would rather bury, a habit that cost you your father's love 17 years ago. But today, in the shadowless hours, you've seen Kess Thornwell meet a stranger at the ridge. And for the first time, you have to decide if the truth is worth the devastation it leaves behind. Welcome to Fable's Adventures. I'm your host, and today's narrative, The Shadowless Hours, is a psychological drama for our 16-plus audience. It explores the thin line between justice and cruelty, and the high cost of being the one who sees everything. If you appreciate stories that sit in the uncomfortable gray areas of the human heart, please subscribe. The light is at its brightest now. Let's watch what it reveals.
You know what it means when someone leaves during the hours when the moorland forgets how to hide. The light here, this strange northern light that strips the hills bare from roughly 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, it doesn't forgive. It doesn't pool in corners or soften along edges. It bleaches everything clean, renders the moors into something almost abstract, all geometric planes and surgical clarity. You've learned to move carefully during these hours. Everyone has. Because in the shadowless time, there's nowhere to go that doesn't announce itself. So when you see Kess Thornwell slip away from her cottage on a Tuesday, moving with the careful deliberation of someone who knows she's being watched, even if she doesn't know you're watching, you feel it like a tooth cracking. Wrong. Impossible. Unnecessary. Kess is 43. She's lived in the moorland settlement for 16 years, keeps a neat garden despite the wind that scours everything to submission, brings bread to the Halstead widow every other Sunday. She's the kind of person who fits. You remember when she arrived? The nervous way she held her shoulders then, the gradual settling into the rhythm of this place. You remember thinking she'd finally learned what everyone learns, that in a community this small, this exposed, you survive by being exactly what you appear to be. But now she's walking toward the eastern ridge, where the old stone boundary marker sits like a broken tooth, and it's 1:47 in the afternoon, and there's nowhere in the world less suitable for a secret meeting than this. You follow, because of course you do. Your mother used to say you had a dog's memory for the wrong things, that you could catalog betrayals the way other people collected recipes. You were 11 when she said that. The morning after you'd caught your father's business partner leaving the house with something that didn't belong to him. You'd mentioned it at breakfast. Your mother's face had closed like a fist. Your father had said nothing. 3 weeks later, the partnership dissolved. Your father never looked at you the same way again, not with anger, which you could have borne, but with something worse. The careful distance of someone protecting himself from contamination. That was 17 years ago. You've learned since that most people prefer their truths buried. It's easier. It doesn't cost anyone anything, except it always does. It always costs. The moorland wind tastes metallic today, carrying that mineral edge that comes after rain. Your boots crack against the dry stone, too loud, and you force yourself to slow, to use the undulations of the land, the few patches of gorse and bracken that still hold on at the ridge's edge. This is easier here. The moorland teaches you how to move if you're willing to listen. Kess reaches the boundary marker at 2:04. There's a man waiting for her. Not from the settlement. You've learned every face that belongs here. It's one of your gifts, or curses. This perfect cataloging of identity. This man is from Whitmore, the settlement 3 miles northwest where the moorland begins to slope toward the industrial valleys. You've seen him twice before. Once at the autumn market, where he and Kess exchanged something too careful to be casual. Once in the village proper, passing her cottage in the evening, which is a normal enough thing, except his hand had touched the wall as he passed, and Kess had been watching from the window. Now they're close together, not touching. The light is so absolute that even at this distance, you can see the tension in their shoulders, the way their mouths move in words you can't hear but could probably reconstruct if you tried. You have that kind of mind. Your heart does something complicated. It's hammering, yes. But underneath that, there's something else. A deep, cold recognition of the shape this will take. He's reaching into his pocket. He's producing something small and dark. A letter maybe. A photograph. A piece of jewelry that catches the brutal light and throws it back into your eyes like an accusation. Kess takes it. Her hand shakes. This is the moment where you should feel certain. This is the moment where the pattern completes itself, and you know what needs to be done. Expose it. Bring it to the council. Protect the community from whatever corruption is being hidden in the shadowless hours. Except you remember Kess's face when the Halstead widow's daughter died. You remember her at the funeral, holding the old woman's hand, not looking away. You remember her in winter, leaving soup outside cottages during the fever that swept through. You remember her laughing, actually laughing, a rare sound here, at some joke made by Thomas at the market. You remember that she's real. The man from Whitmore is backing away now, his part of this transaction complete. Kess is clutching whatever he's given her like it might disappear if she loosens her grip even fractionally. She's turning to leave, and you should move, should position yourself to, but you don't. Instead, you let her go. You watch her walk back toward the settlement, back toward the cottage and the garden and the bread she'll bake for the Halstead widow on Sunday, and you don't move from behind the bracken. You let the moorland's terrible light paint her in shades of truth, and you choose, in that moment, to look away. It takes 40 minutes for your hands to stop shaking. When you finally move, the light is beginning to change. The shadows are returning. 3 o'clock is approaching, and the moorland will remember how to hide again. The surgical clarity will soften. Things will become possible that were impossible moments before. You think about what Kess was holding. You think about the man's face. Not unkind, just careful. You think about the fact that the most dangerous moments in the moorland are not the ones when secrets are being kept, but the ones when they're being revealed. You think about your father's face, 17 years ago. About the cost of being the kind of person who always speaks the truth. The wind carries the taste of blood. You've bitten your lip without noticing. The moorland stretches around you, vast and empty and watching, the way it always does. Somewhere in the distance, there's a sound like a train whistle, though there are no trains here. There's nothing here but stone and grass and the people you've chosen to live among, all of you bound together in the difficult, fragile consensus that some truths are worth more than their revelation. You walk back toward the settlement slowly. By the time you arrive, the light has softened. Shadows are creeping back across the hills like they're being poured from somewhere just beyond the horizon. The moorland is learning again how to hide. Tomorrow, you'll see Kess at market. She'll look almost the same as she always does. Maybe a little lighter, maybe a little more afraid. You won't mention the ridge. You won't mention the man from Whitmore or the thing she was holding so carefully. You'll do what you've never done before. You'll choose to see nothing. It tastes like failure and mercy all mixed together, and you can't decide which one you'll swallow first.
The moorland is learning how to hide again, and so is our witness. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Realizing that sometimes mercy looks like a failure to speak the truth. By choosing to see nothing, they've saved Kess, but they've also changed the person they used to be. I have a question for you. Is a community built on shared secrets stronger or weaker than one built on absolute honesty? Tell me where you stand in the comments below. If this story of the Northern Light stayed with you, please like and subscribe. For those who want to build their own atmospheric landscapes and complex moral puzzles, The Fables Adventures app is linked in the description. Thank you for being here. Until next time, watch the shadows.